Hi everyone, in this video I'm bringing you the fastest bounty build in Diablo 3. This build is absolutely insane. You speed through any act in just a few minutes, complete the entire act in just a few minutes. What's on the screen here is me doing a full run of the act 1 just randomly. Because of this build setup we have currently, we can just blast through everything, we can just dash around really quickly. So we have a ton of damage from this build and also just a crazy amount of movement speed. And the build to just dash around like this makes this the fastest build ever in Diablo 3 for bounty farming. And this does also definitely work for lower paragon and less gear. So the playstyle is pretty simple. Our entire build is just made for having spirit regen and resource cost reduction. We're of course going to show you why later in the items. But basically the entire thing is just dashing around and your mystic ally will just keep killing things as you pass through them. Because of the build setup here, we're able to just dash around forever. And once you find a pack, you can also get in-gym setup, and that just makes it even faster. Now the good thing about this build compared to some of the other builds is that it still has a ton of movement speed. It is the fastest build and it also has a lot of damage. Some of the other builds like a demon hunter that can like move around really quickly sometimes lag in the damage department. So this is where this build really shines. The ability to move around like this and also deal a ton of damage is unseen. And this of course works for both solo and group bounty runs. And I was able to do this act 1 just randomly in just a few minutes. So how does this work? Let's look at the gear, shall we? So we are actually combining the inner set and also the rainment set. So by having the 5-piece of the inner, you get a ton of damage from this, and the 4-piece rainment allows you to dash forever as long as you have spirit. And our entire setup is just made for then having a ton of spirit regen and also a lot of resource cost reduction. So for the weapon we want the inner switch diabo, and in here we're using the weapon shard called the Ace of Anguish, and we're using the ones where every skill on cooldown gives you movement speed and cooldown reduction, and we're also then using the ones who get 15 stacks of this. Now an important note is that to really proc this efficiently, you need poison damage on your weapon, which means you want poison damage as the damage roll on your weapon. And besides that, you want something like this. So you want a high mystic ally damage, you want a resource cost reduction, a cooldown roll. Now this is going to be the most difficult item to get for the build, but even getting it as a non-ancient with these kind of rolls will still work really well. For the wings, using obsidian we have the zodiac. Now I have actually rolled mine incorrectly for this setup here. I was using for my demon hunter. Ideally here you want to have the crit chance, the cooldown reduction, and the resource cost reduction. So you would then get the attack speed and reroll that to resource cost reduction ideally. For the other wing, using the Rachel Sling of Larceny, make sure you get a high secondary, both the chance to fear on hit, but also the move speed increase percent. So you see on this one here, I have a 4.3 chance to fear on hit, and I have a 53 out of 60%. You want to make sure these are both high. And for the rest of the gear, you can actually mix and match however you want in terms of the 3-piece raiment and the 5-piece inner. The only thing that's set in stone is having the inner weapon and the raiment shoulders and the inner belt. Anything else you can mix and match as you want to in terms of what gear you have with the best stats. So for the gloves, you want resource cost reduction, you want cool reduction, and you also want ideally crit chance and crit damage. And now this would be very hard to get, so make sure the resource cost reduction, the cooldown, and the crit damage will be the #1 priority. On the shoulders, you want dexterity, you want mystic ally damage, and you want resource cost reduction and cooldown. For the helmet, you want dexterity, vitality, and crit chance. And for the silver terror, we're using the one with attack speed and crit chance per skill and cooldown. Now attack speed is really nice because it actually allows you to move faster with the dash. This makes the animation quicker. For the chest piece, dexterity, vitality, and mystic ally damage. For the belt, dexterity, vitality, all resistance, and percent life. On the pants, you want dexterity, vitality, and all resistance. For the boots, you want dexterity, vitality, all resistance, and armor. For the amulet, using Scourge amulet here, and you ideally want cold damage and crit chance. But the most important factors are the cold damage and the critical hit damage. For the braces, using Binds of the Guard for the massive damage increase for mystic allies. And here you really want to make sure you get a high secondary. I want to say at least a 190, maybe even higher. And then you want cold damage and crit chance. For Linear Gems, using Enforcer for the massive damage to our pets with some mystic ally counters. Danger Trap for another massive damage increase. And then Goga of Swiftness for attack speed and cooldown option, and also some toughness from the dodge chance. For the cube, we have Indium to get a ton of free dashes after you kill an elite. Try and have this going at all times. If you can't find elites within the window of the Indium, that's really nice. Using Kudos Boots for a massive damage increase to our mystic allies. And of course, Ring of Royal Grandeur to allow us to have the 3-piece of raiment, 5-piece of raiment, and still gain the full effect of both sets. In terms of the skills, using Rift-Hearted Fist, this is really nice for attack speed and getting around quicker. We're using Mystic Ally Water Ally. This is our damage source because it is buffed from the inner set. Using Mantra of Healing for circular breathing, and we already have the base effect of the spell here, but we're after the extra here getting us 3 spirit per second from the rune. Using Cyclone Strike Implosion to pull mobs in, you should only really need to do this on the bosses for getting the Binds of the God proc for the extra damage increase. And of course, Dashing Strike Quicksilver for 3 charges of dashes. This is your main ability. You want to spam this as much as possible to get around really quickly. And then Epiphany Insight to get 45 spirit per second, which is just massive. This combined with the 4-piece of rainment is why this build really shines, giving us a ton of spirit regen, and then you can charge as much as you want to basically. For the passive, using Being of Leader for massive cooldown reduction, we're using Near Death Experience for the Cheat Death, we're using Exalted Soul for even more spirit regen, and then Siege Initiative for a ton of attack speed, which allows us to dash even quicker. And of course, it's all builds. Make sure you have a Flavor of Time as your necklace, and of course the Nemesis braces to really get the full effect of all the pilots who are in the rift. This also helps with spawning the elite so you can get more Indium. So use this build to go out and crush some bounties in a few minutes, and also watch the video here for even more amazing Diablo guides, and I'll see you over there. Peace out, everyone.